Imagine your organization is hit by a cyber attack. Operations stop. Customers demand answers. Rumors spread online, and senior leaders have minutes, not days, to decide what happens next. Would your governance structure survive the pressure, or would confusion take control? All right, let's see how sharp you really are. 10 questions, no hints, no second chances. I'll give you the statement. You decide, fact or fiction. Think fast, trust your instincts, and keep score, because crisis governance is rarely as simple as it appears. Ready? Let's test your knowledge. Question 1. Here's your first statement. When a serious crisis begins, normal governance procedures should be abandoned so leaders can act without restrictions. The answer is fiction. This sounds practical, but it is not accurate. A crisis may require faster decisions, shorter meetings, emergency authority, and temporary changes to normal procedures, but it does not eliminate the need for governance. In fact, governance becomes even more important when pressure is high. Without clear authority and oversight, several executives may issue conflicting instructions, important risks may be ignored, and decisions may be made without understanding their legal, financial, or human consequences. A strong crisis framework defines who can make which decisions, what must still be escalated, and how emergency actions will be reviewed. The goal is not to remove governance. The goal is to make governance fast enough to function under pressure. Question 2. Next statement. The board should take direct control of the organization's day-to-day crisis response. The answer is fiction. The board has a critical role during a major crisis, but that does not normally mean running the operational response. Management is generally responsible for executing the crisis plan, protecting people and assets, communicating with stakeholders, and restoring operations. The board provides oversight. It challenges assumptions, monitors the organization's response, considers long-term consequences, and ensures management is addressing the most serious risks. If directors begin issuing operational instructions directly to employees, responsibilities can become blurred. Employees may not know whether to follow the crisis team, the chief executive, or individual board members. Good crisis governance preserves the difference between oversight and execution, while keeping the board informed enough to intervene if management is unable or unwilling to respond appropriately. Question 3. Let's continue. A crisis management plan can fail even when every role and procedure has been carefully documented. The answer is fact. This is true because a written plan is only the starting point. A beautifully documented plan may still fail if employees have never practiced it, contact information is outdated, backup systems do not work, or the people named in the plan are unavailable. A crisis can also develop in ways the original plan did not predict. That is why effective organizations conduct simulations, tabletop exercises, communication tests, and post-exercise reviews. These activities reveal practical weaknesses that are easy to miss on paper. For example, can the crisis team communicate if the company network is unavailable? Can an alternate decision maker take over immediately? Can leaders access essential information from another location? A crisis plan becomes reliable through testing, learning, and continuous improvement, not simply because it has been approved. Question 4. Pay attention to this one. During a fast-moving crisis, verbal decisions do not need to be documented because everyone is focused on the emergency. The answer is fiction. This may sound reasonable during an emergency, but failing to document important decisions can create another crisis later. Leaders may need to act before a formal meeting can be organized. However, the organization should still record what was decided, who authorized it, what information was available, and why the action was considered necessary. That record supports accountability and helps prevent conflicting instructions. It can also become vital during regulatory reviews, insurance claims, lawsuits, internal investigations, and lessons learned exercises. Documentation does not need to delay an urgent decision. A short, accurate decision log can capture the essential facts while the response continues. When memories become unreliable and decisions are questioned months later, that record may be one of the organization's most important protections. Question 5. We're halfway there. To protect public confidence, an organization should wait until it knows every fact before communicating about a crisis. The answer is fiction. Waiting for perfect information can create a dangerous communication vacuum. During that silence, employees may speculate, customers may panic, false claims may spread, and outside commentators may define the story before the organization speaks. This does not mean leaders should publish unverified details. It means they should communicate what is known, explain what is still being investigated, identify the actions already underway, and say when another update will be provided. Good crisis communication is timely, accurate, consistent, and honest about uncertainty. It should also be coordinated across executives, public relations, legal counsel, compliance teams, and operational leaders. A credible message does not pretend to know everything. It demonstrates that the organization understands the seriousness of the situation and is responding responsibly. Question 6. Let's raise the difficulty. If the chief executive is available during a crisis, the organization does not need an emergency succession plan. The answer is fiction. A crisis can remove a key decision maker without warning. A chief executive or another critical leader may become ill, lose access to communications, face a conflict of interest, or become directly involved in the event being investigated. An organization cannot wait until that happens to decide who takes control. Emergency succession planning identifies who can assume essential responsibilities, what authority transfers to that person, and how the change will be communicated. It should cover more than the chief executive. Organizations may also need backups for technology, finance, legal, communications, compliance, security, and operational leadership. Succession planning is not a prediction that leaders will fail. It is protection against allowing the entire response to depend on one person. Question 7. This one catches people off guard. Once an organization activates its crisis team, every serious decision should be made by the entire team together. The answer is fiction. A crisis team needs collaboration, but requiring the entire group to approve every decision can create delay and confusion. Different decisions require different expertise and levels of authority. A cybersecurity specialist may need to isolate a compromised system immediately. A safety leader may need to evacuate a facility. A senior executive may need to authorize major spending or suspend a business activity. The crisis governance framework should establish decision rights before the emergency begins. It should identify who decides, who advises, who must be consulted, and who only needs to be informed. This prevents two dangerous extremes: one person making every decision without challenge, or a large committee debating every action while the crisis becomes worse. Strong governance does not require everyone to decide everything. It requires the right people to make the right decisions at the right time. Question 8. Stay focused. If a crisis was caused by an employee's mistake, identifying and removing that employee should be the organization's first governance priority. The answer is fiction. Accountability matters, especially when misconduct or reckless behavior may be involved. But immediately searching for someone to blame can interfere with the crisis response and prevent the organization from discovering deeper failures. An employee's mistake may have passed through weak controls, poor training, excessive workloads, unclear responsibilities, inadequate supervision, or a culture in which people were afraid to report problems. During the immediate response, the priorities are usually to protect people, contain the damage, preserve evidence, maintain essential operations, and communicate responsibly. An objective investigation can then determine what happened and whether disciplinary action is justified. If leaders blame an individual before understanding the system, employees may hide information, and the underlying weakness may remain in place until the next crisis. Question 9. Almost there. Restoring normal operations means the crisis governance process is complete. The answer is fiction. Operational recovery is a major milestone, but it is not the end of the governance process. The organization may still need to assist affected people, investigate the cause, meet reporting obligations, communicate with stakeholders, manage legal or financial consequences, and monitor for delayed damage. Leaders should also conduct a structured post-crisis review. What worked? What failed? Which decisions were delayed? Were warnings ignored? Did the board receive the right information? Could employees report concerns safely? And did temporary emergency powers actually end when the emergency ended? The findings should lead to assigned actions, responsible owners, deadlines, and follow-up oversight. If an organization restores operations but fails to learn, it may have recovered from the event without becoming more resilient. Question 10. This is the final question, and it's the one that surprises most people. A strong governance system cannot prevent every crisis, but it can determine whether one damaging event becomes an organizational catastrophe. The answer is fact. This is true, and it may be the most important lesson in this challenge. No governance system can eliminate every cyber attack, accident, supply chain failure, act of misconduct, natural disaster, or unexpected disruption. But governance can shape what happens next. It determines whether warning signs reach senior leaders. It determines whether responsibilities are clear. It determines whether decision-makers receive reliable information, whether employees can speak openly, and whether the organization responds with discipline instead of panic. Two organizations can experience nearly identical events and produce completely different outcomes. One contains the damage, communicates honestly, protects its stakeholders, and learns from the failure. The other delays, denies, contradicts itself, loses evidence, blames the wrong people, and turns a manageable event into a prolonged crisis of trust. That is why crisis governance is not only about emergency plans. It is about leadership, accountability, information, culture, decision-making, and trust, working together when the organization is under its greatest pressure. The crisis may be unavoidable. The catastrophe often is not. All right, how did you do? Drop your score in the comments. And be honest. Did any of these answers change how you think about leadership during a crisis? 8 or more? You understand crisis governance better than most people. Less than that? Now you know what many organizations discover only after something goes wrong. Hit like, subscribe, and share this challenge with someone who thinks they could lead under pressure. Then come back for the next Governancepedia challenge. Because when a crisis begins, there are no perfect choices, but strong governance helps leaders make better ones, and knowing more is how you stay ahead.